Welcome to Sacred Place Live. I'm Matthew, your host. Today we continue with the story of Zacchaeus, or Zacchaeus, depending on how you want to say it, the wee little man of children's songs. I think we often read this story differently than the original hearers would have first heard it. We've been walking with Jesus on his way to Jerusalem for his final days. And on his way there, he has been sharing parables and stories and engaging with people to seek out the lost ones. We have heard things which are helpful for understanding what Jesus came to do from the very beginning of his ministry in his hometown, where he was nearly thrown off a cliff. He reminds the people that he is there to help those who are marginalized and oppressed, not necessarily the righteous, but those who have been cast aside. The ones who are righteous are the ones who are the core part of daily life, who are the in crowd. Jesus finds himself with those who are othered, labeled as sinner. We see that in the story of Zacchaeus, which I will read to you now from the Gospel according to Luke. Jesus took the 12 aside and said, "Look, we're going up to Jerusalem, and everything written about the human one by the prophets will be accomplished. He will be handed over to the Gentiles. He will be ridiculed, mistreated, and spit on. After torturing him, they will kill him. On the third day he will rise up." But the 12 understood none of these words. The meaning of this message was hidden from them, and they didn't grasp what he was saying. As Jesus came to Jericho, a certain blind man was sitting beside the road begging. When the man heard the crowd passing by, he asked what was happening. They told him, "Jesus, the Nazarene, is passing by." The blind man shouted, "Jesus, Son of David, show me mercy." Those leading the procession scolded him, telling him to be quiet. But he shouted even louder, "Son of David, show me mercy." Jesus stopped and called for the man to be brought to him. When he was present, Jesus asked, "What do you want me to do for you?" He said, "Lord, I want to see." Jesus said to him, "Receive your sight. Your faith has healed you." At once he was able to see, and he began to follow Jesus, praising God. When all the people saw it, they praised God too. Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through town. A man there named Zacchaeus, a ruler among tax collectors, was rich. He was trying to see who Jesus was, but being a short man, he couldn't because of the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed up a sycamore tree so he could see Jesus, who was about to pass that way. When Jesus came to that spot, he looked up and said, "Zacchaeus, come down at once. I must stay in your home today." So Zacchaeus came down at once, happy to welcome Jesus. Everyone who saw this grumbled, saying, "He has gone to be the guest of a sinner." Zacchaeus stopped and said to the Lord, "Look, Lord, I give half of my possessions to the poor, and if I have cheated anyone, I repay them 4 times as much." Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this household, because he too is a son of Abraham. The human one came to seek and save the lost." So on Sunday, when we were together for Sacred Place together, I reflected on this text not in the ways that we often hear it. This is often seen as a conversion of Zacchaeus from his evil ways so that he can be righteous again. But if you read these words closely, even in the Greek, the things that Zacchaeus says about not cheating others and giving half of his possessions to the poor are in the present tense. So it seems to be that it's possible that this is something he already does. He's not necessarily changing his ways. What I find most important is what Jesus says. Today, salvation has come to this household because he too is a son of Abraham. What Jesus is saying is, this one whom you have marginalized, because he is a symbol of the empire which oppresses you, and he is wealthy because of his role as a tax collector of the empire. This one is one of you. He shouldn't be pushed aside because of his job. He is part of the community. I mentioned that this wasn't just a big deal for Zacchaeus, which it was, but rather for the whole community. To see someone differently than they had, a shift in perspective. It's the same thing we talked about last week with the story with the rich man and Lazarus, that parable. What Jesus does to seek and save those who have been lost is so often to bring them back into the fold, as the shepherd does, to save that lost sheep by bringing them back to be part of the flock. In this case, it may have not even been Zacchaeus' fault that he was pushed out. But nonetheless, Jesus restores him. So today, let us imagine ourselves as Zacchaeus, the one who is, at least in his own mind, I imagine, doing the best he can to be righteous, to do what God would ask of him, to be generous with the poor, to be honest in his work, even if it is the work of Caesar, of the empire. Imagine feeling like you have no understanding of what you could do to be part of the community again, to be marginalized. One doesn't often know how to be not marginalized. Whatever has set us apart is a division which we can't seem to overcome. Jesus, doing the work of God, is the one to help overcome that by reminding Zacchaeus and the people of what they have in common. Their shared story going all the way back to Abraham. Though there may be things that make them different, they are of the same people. This message couldn't be more relevant today, when in our country we have divided ourselves by things which so often seem arbitrary, and things which maybe aren't, but we still allow them to keep us apart, to marginalize some. This is systemic, like we see through racism, through xenophobia, through gender, through the LGBT community. All of those who are pushed away to the margins. So often we don't know how to bring them back into the fold because of these systems which perpetuate this division. But it is possible. The human one brings us together. If you are one of those marginalized people, I've been one myself as an LGBT person, especially marginalized by the church. Even when you feel like it, you're not alone. You will be found. When I was talking to Ben this week about what music we might do for our reflection after my reflection over the text, our musical reflection, he came up with an idea that I was kind of upset with myself for not thinking of on my own. One of my favorite songs that's in my rotation of my current playlist that I play whenever I'm looking for music and don't know what to listen to. This is one of those songs that is so powerful. May you reflect on this story of Zacchaeus, one who is marginalized yet restored by Jesus into the community. May you find yourself, find God, find others in this story. And may this song help you to do that.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall, no one would hear? Well, let that lonely feeling wash away. Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand, you can reach out your hand. And oh, someone will come running, and I know they'll take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you reach up and you rise again. Lift your head and look around, you will be found. You will be found. There's a place where we don't have to feel unknown. And every time that you call out, you're a little less alone. And if you only say the word, from across the silence, your voice is heard. And oh, someone will come running, and I know will take you home. 'Cause even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. Let the sun come streaming in, as you reach up and you rise again. Lift your head and look around, you will be found. You will be found. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in as you reach up and you rise again. Lift your head and look around. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found.
May that be the good news for you today from this story. The phrase we so often use in the United Church of Christ, whoever you are and wherever you are on life's journey, you have a place among us. If you are one of the lost, one of the marginalized, one of the othered, you will be found. Amen. Sunday is Palm Sunday, Palm and Passion Sunday, when we begin Holy Week as we prepare for Jesus' life coming to an end and the hope of new life in his resurrection on Easter. It's a busy 8 days. We will have our regular sacred place together on Palm Sunday at 10:30 on Zoom, which is available, that information is available on our website at yoursacredplace.org. And then next Thursday will be our Maundy Thursday time. We'll do a live stream, but also a Zoom gathering simultaneously. That's also on our website. And then Friday, we will do a Good Friday service of light and darkness, also at 5:30. And then Sunday we will celebrate on Easter at 10:30 with Sacred Place Together Easter Edition. Until then, may you have a blessed week and weekend. Go in God's grace and peace, for this is your sacred place.